welcome to News Nationwide, coming to you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Lydia Bassi. The success in the fight against corruption and insecurity, as well as the repositioning of Nigeria's economy, have been identified as a major success of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in the last 100 days. Chairman Senate Committee on Information, Media and Publicity, Senator Dino Melaye, said this on NTA International Current Affairs Program, Issues of the Moment.
And I was doing fantastically well in the fight against corruption. He is a man I have come to describe as the nemesis of corruption in this country, very transparent, very forthright, indomitable, indefatigable. And I am particularly impressed with the drive so far in the fight against corruption by Mr. President. And I want to believe that this will help in ameliorating and palliating our problem as a nation. It will help to bring back our long-lost reputation.
Full package of the program will be telecast on NTA International at 7:30 this evening. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, says fighting corruption must be seen as a collective responsibility of everyone. The commission has therefore advised legislators to adopt measures that will enable them meet contemporary challenges of fighting corruption in the country. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
The ongoing reforms by the federal government demonstrates the Buhari administration's zero tolerance to corruption. ICPC, in its drive to strengthen these efforts, brings together members of state assemblies to enlighten them on basic requirements for good governance, accountability, integrity, sound ethical practices, and transparency in legislative business. The commission say the effort is also to rebrand the lawmakers as change agents at the grassroots, adding that they must be equipped with the required knowledge and instruments to enhance the fight against corruption at the state level.
Is the starting point that we're having this relationship. We're not doing a post-mortem after 4 years and begin to lay blame and cast aspersions at each other. What we're doing today is the right thing to do.
Chairman, Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria, Abdul Karim Lawan, said legislators in the states are challenged by the ongoing reforms by the federal government and promise purposeful state assemblies that affect the people.
And also we are also of the opinion of what they have been doing, and also we are going to do our work without any corruptions.
Every agency is now prepared to fight corruption. That's why the ICPC collaborated with this Foundation of Transparency and Accountability to organize this work for all the State House Assembly.
The 3-day workshop with the theme Transparency and Accountability, a veritable legislative tool in service delivery, is being attended by members of state assemblies from 8 states in the northeastern parts of the country. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Arewa Consultative Forum will engage government at all levels and other organizations with a view to drawing their attention towards infrastructure and economic development of the region. Chairman Board of Trustees of the Forum, Malam Adamu Fika, said this at the 2015 General Assembly of the ACF in Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachukun reports.
It is an annual General Assembly of members of the Board of Trustees, National Working Committee, and leadership of state chapters of the Arewa Consultative Forum. Though a meeting for stock-taking on achievements of the forum in the last 1 year, the meeting also deliberated on other national issues. Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Malam Adamu Fika, represented by Chairman National Working Committee of the ACF, Alhaji Ibrahim Kumasi, acknowledged the achievements made so far by the Buhari administration in addressing issues of insurgency, corruption and indiscipline. The forum resolved to engage governments and organizations to address infrastructural deficit and economic backwardness of the North. Secretary General of the ACF, Colonel John Uba, said since inauguration in February last year, The present leadership of the ACF has intensified collaboration with local and international organizations, put pressure on relevant authorities for the restoration of peace in the Northeast, and improved collaboration with governments at all levels. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has urged media editors to promote national unity while treating news and public issues. It was at the opening of the All Nigerian Editors Conference in Yenagoa today, where he was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information, Folashade Yemi-Eshon. He said editors are critical drivers of national development and peace. Bayelsa State Governor Seriake Dixon says after elections, politicians must unite to deliver good governance to the citizens whose needs have no political color. The governor also urged the media to carry out self-examination to ensure good journalism practice in Nigeria. Acting President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Garba Dean Mohammed, advocated improved wages for Nigerian workers and functional education for every child. He also urged the media to develop citizen-centered agenda and promote the people's interests. In his contributions, the President of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Wahid Odushile, urged the Nigerian Guild of Editors to address the threats of social media to journalism practice. In the face of dwindling resources and threats from social media, Chief Executive Officer of Channels Television, John Momo, said, "Change is a watchword for the editor to achieve the change that is needed." Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai of Kaduna State has reiterated the commitment of the federal government to the revival of Nigerian textile mills in the country. The governor, accompanied by his Edo State counterpart Adams Oshomole, said this at the annual conference of National Union of Textile Garment and Tailoring Workers, which took place in Kaduna. Zachary Gabriel reports.
The theme for this year's conference, Buhari Administration, Revival of Textile Industries and Creation of Mass Decent Jobs, brought together critical stakeholders in the industry to examine the implementation and strategies for the revival of closed textiles, described by Malam Nasir El-Rufai as critical in the provision of employment to teeming youths.
The federal government and the state government will work to remove this problem.
Now of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshomole said, the revival of textile industries in the shortest possible period has become necessary in the quest by Nigeria to develop.
If you are not the beneficiary of labor, you are not the beneficiary of smoking, you are not the beneficiary of corrupt practices.
Others spoke on the need for action in that direction.
The textile industry globally has gone digital. And for us to be competitive, we need to also improve on, invest in the latest technology.
National Union of Textile, Garments and Tailoring Workers of Nigeria was formed in 1978, drawing its membership from manufacturers of textile materials, including preparation of textile fabric for spinning, weaving, and knitting mills. In Kaduna, Zachary Gabriel, NTA News.
Let's now join Jennifer in our Lagos Center for more insight into the Court of Appeal ruling in the election petition suit against Governor Akinwumi Ambode and other stories from that zone. Hello, Jennifer. What's the latest?
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening and welcome to Lagos. We have 4 stories, and the first is that the Court of Appeal has upheld the election of Governor Akinwumi Ambode of Lagos State. In a unanimous decision, the appeal court said the petition by the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2015 general election, Mr. Jimmy Agbaje, is frivolous. Governor Ambode has commended the judgment. Nosa Osula has the details.
The State Election Petitions Tribunal, headed by Justice Mohammed Sijaru, had on July 1st, 2015, struck out the petition of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, candidate Mr. Jimmy Agbaje against the victory of Mr. Akinwumi Ambode of the All Progressive Congress, APC, for incompetence and lack of correlation of the reliefs sought by the petitioner. Mr. Agbaje and the People's Democratic Party, however, appealed the judgment of the tribunal at the Court of Appeal to contest Governor Ambode's victory and the ruling of the tribunal. The appeal court, however, reaffirmed the verdict of the tribunal, aligning with the July 4th decision of the Justice Mohammed Sijaru-led tribunal. The 5-man appeal panel, after dismissing Agbaje's appeal on the grounds of incompetence, ordered him to compensate each of the respondents in the sum of 50,000 naira each. The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, in a statement signed by his Chief Press Secretary, Mr. Habib Haruna, said the decision of the appeal court is a further testimony to the affirmation of his victory by the tribunal and a vindication of the mandate of the people as expressed in the April 11 elections. The governor, however, urged the opposition to shield their swords, move beyond partisanship, and join hands with his administration to move Lagos to the next level. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Now, in spite of several reports on NTA to call the attention of Nigerians to the influx of illegal immigrants through the land border in Seme, another set of Togolese immigrants have arrived at the office of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Lagos, has an update of the situation.
They came into Lagos overnight, and their destination was the office of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons at Awolowo Road in Ikoyi, Lagos.
Less than 2 months, a total of 183 illegal immigrants from Togo have found their way into Nigeria through the land border in Seme. The question that has continued to agitate the minds of Nigerians is how did these Togolese immigrants find their way into the country to the land border without the knowledge of the immigration officers in Seme?
The group comprised of 24 persons, including women and children. The leader of the Togolese immigrants told NTA News that they came into Lagos since June this year, but life has been unbearable in Badagry, where they first settled to do menial jobs.
Now, accessory protection we dey find, but we no have money to come. We just dey find money there to come here.
How you take come?
We pass for bush. We no pass for border.
They, however, gave a hint that there were about 705 of them scattered across Lagos. So far, about 207 of this large number of immigrants have turned up at the Commission's office in Ikoyi in Lagos. Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has advised Nigerian women to embrace vocational skill acquisition to empower themselves and contribute to the economic growth of the country. The governor gave the advice at a Muslim Women's Forum in Lagos. Nusa Osula has the details.
The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Oluranti Adebule, said that women empowerment was the surest way of securing the future of the country. He further added that the newly created Ministry of Employment and Wealth Creation is in fulfillment of his administration's electoral promise to make life better and comfortable for everybody. The program was organized to train women in entrepreneurial skills in order to make them economically independent. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
And now to the Army. Retired medical personnel of the Directorate of Nursing, Nigerian Army, have been to offer service to humanity even in retirement. The advice was given by the Director Nursing Services of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Achibang, at the event to mark the formal retirement of some of its personnel in Lagos.
After years of providing healthcare services to the officers and men of the Nigerian Army in war and peace situation, these military nurses are set for retirement. But of more relevance, the Director of Nursing Services say, is their years of medical service experience, which she insists must be deployed to help the less privileged in the society.
Nursing services is one among the
value directorates in Nigerian Army Medical that is responsible for rendering healthcare services to the military personnel and the general public. For retired nurses, humanitarian services must have been rendered for a very long period, but please, it should not be abandoned.
The director observed that offering humanitarian service will help improve healthcare delivery in the country. Some retirees went home with plaques for a job well done.
A training workshop aimed at outlining the concept and techniques of public speaking has been held at the Nigerian Television Authority NTA to Lagos Network Center. The workshop is to empower staff of the center to attain presentation and public speaking mastery. Lilineke has the details.
Broadcasters are among those who are expected to be experts in public speaking, but reality from this seminar, however, reveals otherwise. As the Zonal Director, NTA2 Lagos Network Center says, the skill and the art of public speaking requires to be learned, acquired and practiced not only by broadcasters, but anyone who aspires a position of leadership and want to carry his followers along.
At the end of the day, it's not only about public speaking, it's also about leadership training, how to take control of your environment.
The workshop lead facilitator, Samuel Jonathan, explained that the art of public speaking tells who you are and will assist participants to attain the mastery of presentation.
Whether you are in front of the cameras or you answer the telephone, it's very important that you're able to articulate yourself with clarity, charisma, and precision.
Participants say the seminar has impacted positively on them, hoping that the effect will soon show on their performances at work.
As a producer, I think I'm in a better position now to know how to interview people. Even in difficult circumstances, in difficult situations, I now know how to respond better.
The way we voice our reports and the way we communicate with people, we must make sure that we're audible. We should pass the right messages.
It's quite amazing, really, what you can learn when you know how to speak properly.
Learning process is a continuous one, they say, and that is what played out in this empowerment workshop. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Thank you, Lynn. And on that note, we end our contribution from Lagos. Back to you, Lydia, for more on Nationwide News.
Many thanks, Jennifer. A renewed attempt at making Nigerians respond to national issues with high sense of patriotism has been untold in Abuja. Anthony Fossen reports.
Tagged Nigerian Rebirth Project, it is driven by artists who are poised to use fine arts to showcase the positive sides of Nigeria and the dexterity in its citizens to triumph in the face of undaunting challenges. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information, and her counterpart in the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, in their separate messages to the occasion, applauded the concept.
I consider
The project coordinator and head of the participating artists say the project was conceived to stir up national consciousness of a superior Nigerian identity. The spirit of nationhood is to be engraved in the hearts of Nigerians, ushering a new frontier of true greatness and prosperity. Painters from the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, as well as the presidency, will form the 38 artists that will print the national art. In Abuja, Anthony Fossen, NTA News.
For effective management of humanitarian services in crisis-ridden parts and regions of Africa, there must be greater collaboration, coordination and cooperation, and intergovernmental at both regional and continental levels. The Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Mohammed Sani Sidi, stated this at the ECOWAS consultative meeting held in Abuja. Edino Justice reports that the meeting is part of preparations for Africans to have a common position at the next year's World Humanitarian Summit.
The fight against Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria's northeastern states of Borno, Adamawa and Gombe, with spillover in neighboring states, has led to a large number of both internally displaced persons, IDPs in Nigeria, and refugees in neighboring countries. The DG NEMA, Mohammed Sani Sidi, in a paper entitled The Humanitarian Consequences of the Boko Haram Insurgency in Nigeria, noted that with the military winning the war, large number of displaced persons are returning to their state of origin, which calls for effective coordination of humanitarian services.
And greater synergy, especially among countries, to deal with humanitarian crisis. We have our own share of humanitarian crisis in Nigeria, where over 1.5 million people have so far been displaced. So what we are asking for is for every donor, every agency, every stakeholder to key into the overall national program.
He further speaks on efforts and plan for the rehabilitation and education of the children of the returning IDPs and refugees.
We are able to achieve transfer of over 1,800 students to various unity colleges across the country.
Other speakers agreed on the need for Africa to present a common position at the next year's World Humanitarian Summit.
Assistance are not coming promptly, they are not timely, and of course, funds are drying up.
NEMA has also said that among the returning refugees and internally displaced persons, nobody will be forced to return. But it must be voluntary, and that basic infrastructures will be put in place. From ECOWAS Secretariat, Abuja, Edino Justice, NTA News.
The burning issues of how Nigeria can tap or leverage on the resources and skill of the huge number of its nationals outside its shores to key into the change mantra of the present administration were some of the issues discussed or addressed by guests on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria. Adomalik Adil tells us more.
In line with the current administration's change agenda, particularly as it relates to the matters of health, education, youth, and sports, Nigerian professionals and experts are being given a voice to contribute to the realization of the desired vision. It is estimated that about 15 million Nigerians live outside the shores of the country. This staggering figure has prompted experts to seek answers to development challenges facing Nigeria and ways to bring these professionals back home.
The fact that we have a crisp and clear 3-point strategic agenda, anybody, anywhere in the world can easily recall those 3 pointers. And when you have a very focused, very simple, easy to understand agenda, and we are starting to see some action against that agenda, it makes it very, very attractive for many Nigerians who are truly committed to the growth and development of our nation.
We need to look at a new model of industrialization. We need to move away from centralized, putting everything in the urban areas and the cities, and begin to look at developing the rural areas, decentralization. A huge population, a huge percentage of our population lives away from the urban areas. We need to take development to those parts of the country.
When you look at what the Indians, the Chinese, and the rest have done, the emphasis was on development.
Establishing a diasporan commission, experts say, would facilitate the realization of the change agenda in the country.
Professionals that we are talking about, that to be able to galvanize and put them all together, they actually desire that there will be a commission that enables them to have a sense of belonging and to have an organized institution that can make their request known to the government and then enable them to do whatever they want to do.
Again, no coordination, no synergy. And you know what? They want to do it. They want to do it willingly and voluntarily, but there's nobody to talk to. They get frustrated themselves. They're even more determined than we are.
The discussant also alluded to the fact that creating an enabling environment through a vibrant economy would go a long way to attracting Nigerians in the diaspora to invest in capital and infrastructural development in the country. In Abuja, Abdulmalik Adio, NTA News.
NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria. Over 100 visually impaired regain their sight as Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria organizes free eye care outreach. This and more from our Jos Network Center with Ruth as our guide. Hello Ruth, it's over to you.
Hello Lydia, welcome to Jos. Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has charged intending Muslim pilgrims from the state to be of good character while in the Holy Land. The governor gave the charge at the farewell ceremony for the 2015 intending pilgrims to Saudi Arabia. Ekemerem Kaneng Ladoja reports.
The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Professor Soni Chuden, urged the pilgrims to maintain the standards and values Plateau State is known for and to uphold the good image of Nigeria.
As we bring forward richly in the life of all the pilgrims, so that they will in turn pray fervently for the peace and progress of our dear states.
The governor added that the state government will continue to provide the enabling environment for all religions to grow. Chairman of the 2015 Hajj Committee, Alhaji Abdullahi Muhammad, said that while the journey to Hajj is a call from Allah, all intending pilgrims must abide by the rules and regulations governing the Hajj both in Nigeria and in Saudi Arabia.
By his will and at the appointed time. However, the successful intending pilgrims who have gone through a series of screening and lectures for the purpose of this holy journey, they must abide by the rules and regulations.
Alhaji Muhammad also appealed to the state government to provide a permanent site for office accommodation and transit camp for the State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board. 1,273 pilgrims from the state are to make the pilgrimage, of which 398 are sponsored by the state government and 150 sponsored by different local governments. In Jos, Ekemerem Kaneng Ladoja, NTA News.
Medical research indicates that there is an alarming increase in cases of cataract in Plateau State and Nigeria as a whole. It is with a view to the high rate of the disease that the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Plateau State government, provided free eye care service to the Bokos community. Felicia Dalyup tells us more.
Cataract is a medical condition which presents a clouding of the eye's natural lens, which lies behind the iris and the pupil. The disease occurs when the eye has become opaque and gradually loses vision due to aging. Other causes of cataract includes trauma, diabetes, hypertension, and smoking. To curb the rising cases of this disease, a team of experts from the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria were at the Bokos General Hospital to carry out surgeries on over 100 cataract patients.
As people get older, the likelihood of cataract developing increases, especially when people approach 50 years.
Consultant ophthalmologist with the Jos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Patricia Wade, explained that the exercise is the society's way of improving the health status of the people.
It's actually to help the community, give them their sight, those who need, and those who need readers or glasses, we give them.
Beneficiaries were appreciative of the gesture.
They tried a lot because when she was like operating, she was like saying my own was a bit complicated, but she still had the patient to attend to me to everything. So thanks to the doctor, thanks for the people that organized the program.
The outreach is part of events marking the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria's annual general meeting holding in Jos. From Bokos local government, Felicia Dalio, NTA News.
The National Identification Management Commission will on the 1st of September 2015 implement the regulation on the mandatory use of the National Identification Number. This clarification was made by the State Coordinator, National Identification Management Commission, Paul Gofwan, in a chat with Mariam Adura.
The State Coordinator of the Paul Gofwan said registration for the national identity number is ongoing and will not stop until further notice. He said what will happen on the 1st of September is that people without a national identity number will not be able to make certain transactions.
Some of those transactions will probably include the opening of a fresh bank account, application for a new driver's or renewal of a new driver's license, transactions that have to do with land deals, amongst other transactions like that.
Some people were seen trying to get access to the Commission's office for different purposes.
I've registered. Every day they come here, they say unless I see text message or anything like that. So it's not fair. Make government do something on it. 1.5 years, it's not ready. We are the first set of people that did this ID card. But I'm telling you, up to date, they have not proved our own. The people that have done their own behind, that a week will do them.
Mr. Gafwan said the cards have not been distributed to some people because the production process is slow, though in progress. The coordinator adds that the registration center has been decentralized as there are 6 registration centers in Jos at the moment. In Jos, Mariam Adura, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. Lydia, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ruth. The federal government has constituted a task force to monitor and observe the flow of water into the country from neighboring countries of Niger and Cameroon. This is part of measures taken to protect lives and property from possible flooding that may occur as a result of the release of dam waters from the two countries. Let's get more on this from Musa Baba Aliyu.
Nigeria
Executive Course 37 at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru. To this effect, participants are on study tour of education parastatals to keep them abreast of the issues and gaps in the sector. Franca Uzoma Olwa has the details.
These are members. Their mission is to review the functions of the NUC, a regulatory agency of the Nigerian universities.
Unless something is done about the quality of the visitors representative, which is council, then of course we are in trouble in this particular country.
I think that is a big problem where universities have been pronounced and then the structures are not there, the teachers are not there. And then, before you know it, they started admitting students.
Executive Secretary NUC, Professor Julius Okoje, says for a regulatory agency to function effectively, there has to be adequate funding.
We must be brand institutions. We are not encouraging what is you leave the system and you leave it to a structure that's supposed to be in place. We have no way of councils.
Teacher education and motivation formed major issues of discussion at the National Commission for Colleges of Education as another study group visited the commission.
We have heard what they've told us their mission. We've also had all the problems they are encountering.
There are so many challenges that have been identified and so many recommendations have been provided with implementation strategies.
The National Commission for Colleges of Education has a mandate to produce quality teachers at the basic education subsector.
The Nigerian teacher want to see at the end of the day, if I'm a teacher, what am I going to enjoy? What is my remuneration? What am I classified as somebody who is important and strategic in national development?
The study tour of the groups continues in other strategic organizations. As participants of the Senior Executive Course 37 of NIPS visit education parastatals, the task before them is to come up with policies that will assist the federal government to reposition the education sector for global competitiveness. In Abuja, Franca Uzoma Olwa, NTA News. Thank you, Franca. You are still watching NTA News Nationwide. Time for some messages. Don't go away.
Television Authority, in collaboration with Wesco Economic Summit, is organizing Global Economic Summit in San Francisco, California, USA, from 12 to 16 November 2015. This summit is aimed at attracting foreign investors from United States, United Kingdom, and other parts of the world to Nigeria. Target participants for the summit include state governments, manufacturers, corporate organizations from different sectors of the economy, and high net worth individuals. For details on sponsorship and participation, please call 0806 011 3222, 0816 640 8667, 0803 302 0855, 0818 571 3894.
Come to Sharon Ultimate Hotels, Abuja, the ultimate place to be.
"50 years after the first ever African Games in 1965, Brazzaville will again host the 11th edition of the African Games from September the 4th to 19th, 2015. 51 countries, 8,000 athletes will compete in some 22 sports. The continent's best athletes will be in action as Congo gets a chance to show off its rich history and cultural offerings. The African Games on your television and radio networks from September the 4th to 19th, LC2 AFNEX, and brought to you by Masuba Express, our official sponsors.
At all levels have been drawn to the issue of total inclusion of women and girls with disabilities, especially with regards to access to healthcare services. This was emphasized by the Executive Director of Disability Rights Advocacy Center, Irene Patrick Ogbogu, at Media Dialogue on Women with Disabilities in Nigeria.
The organization estimates that 15% of the world's population has a disability, making people with disability the world's largest minority. It is also estimated that of the 26.5 million Nigerians living with disabilities, about 50% are women and girls. This media dialogue focuses on advocacy for social inclusion of women with disabilities in Nigeria in the health sector. They shared experiences of challenges faced while dealing with their condition.
Around 9 a.m., she experienced a labor. She had to start shouting that she paid. She had to be holding her waist. And that took her and lie her on the bed. And they were telling her to push. It was when it's like the baby head wanted to come out, she was just trying to force herself to talk. Doctor. The doctor had already worked out on her.
They also called on President Muhammadu Buhari to review the status of women with disabilities in Nigeria and ensure their participation in every sector of the economy.
We want several seats at the table.
Meanwhile, its effort towards an all-inclusive governance, the federal government has embarked on giving a voice to persons with disabilities and NGOs across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT with the distribution of wheelchairs and working support wheels. Ngozi Chude reports that the gesture was through the collaboration of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development and the Government of Japan.
Movement is an integral part of human rights, but persons with disabilities are oftentimes faced with the challenge of moving from one place to the other. Musbal Lawal and Ndibilo Lucy, both physically challenged, say lack of mobility is not a pleasant experience.
Even my last year I broke his hand, so for me to use the crutches, they had even to work.
It's seriously difficult because I know the challenge we face, most especially people like me who are polio survivors.
When people of this kind are blessed with the gift of the wheelchair or walking support wheels, the scene is one memory that cannot be erased for a long time. At the symbolic presentation of wheelchairs to representatives of NGOs from across the country and persons with disability, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs, Dr. Ezekiel Oyemomi, said the federal government will not relent in its quest of making life more meaningful for persons with disability.
Then when we have distributed to all the state governments, we have also given them guidelines as to who and who should have this. Aside from NGOs, individuals also write to us. We see their pictures, we interact with them, and if we know that their circumstance shows that they need this and they're not going to take it to sell, we give to them.
Representative of the Japan government, donor of the items, said the objective is geared towards fulfilling the Yokohama Declaration 2013, which aims at easing the suffering of the physically challenged. As Musbal, Lucy and others across the country benefit from this gesture, it is believed this step will spur the beneficiaries to winning their ways out of misery. In Abuja, Ngozi Chude, NTA News.
You're watching News Nationwide. Update on oil spillage in Rivers State as Department of Petroleum Resources comments on fuel scarcity in Rivers State. Furo is standing by in our Port Harcourt Network Center with details of this and more. Hello, Furo. It's over to you.
Hello, Leader. You're welcome to Port Harcourt Network Center. Communities on Ahoda East Local Government of Rivers State, sites of last Friday oil spill, have appealed to relevant authorities to come to their rescue and prevent their farmland from being destroyed. The fresh appeal is coming on the heels of an outbreak of fire in the communities affected by the oil spill. Kingsley Amajiri has an update.
NTA News had earlier visited the site of the Ajib Ebocha Brass gas pipeline oil spillage, allegedly caused by a valve failure. barely 4 days after the spill erupted, the area went on flame. Residents of the area called for a quick remediation of the affected area, asking for relief materials as their economic activities have been negatively affected by the spillage.
I was suffering with the 4 children and me and my wife. Up till now, my wife and my children, they are not in the house now. To prepare something now, we cannot be able to set fire.
Officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, who were at the community to study the development, called for calm among the people, pledging to submit their reports to the appropriate authorities.
We've also been able to talk to the community not to take to violence. They should be patient with both AGIP and the government to ensure that the issue is resolved peacefully.
We really need to go into some level of investigation to know what actually happened before I can say anything.
Ubeki is a fishing and farming community where most residents rely on their natural resource to make a living. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amadri, NTA News.
Mbiama Market provides a major source of supply for traders, consumers and travelers on the Port Harcourt East-West Road. For some time now, the safety of the people patronizing the market has been some of the major concern because of the current location of the market, which poses danger not only to traders but also motorists with its attendant traffic congestion. Kingsley Amadri again has more reports.
Is a boundary community in Rivers State, with this market largely patronized by people from Port Harcourt, Yenegua in Bayelsa State, and sometimes Warri in Delta State. Within Biama and its adjoining communities providing the major food supply, buyers, especially resellers, take advantage of the relative cheaper cost of food items to make purchases.
Snail, minities, fish, we dey get a cheap here.
But with the dualization of the East-West Road, which passed through the market, trading activities in the market in turn constitute a major barrier to free flow of traffic.
Anywhere now with the shade, now they put the warriors.
Other big motor will be passing here, carry fuel and caravan. If there is any mistake, now you will condemn us here.
Investigation revealed that past Ahoda West local government authorities had moved the market to a new location in Abu, but traders are reluctant to move. The new leadership of the council has, however, pledged to enforce compliance.
I have plans to relocate the market from where they are along the road, to an area close to the permanent site.
The Mbiama market is replete with the abundant supply of plantain, banana, yams, among others. From Mbiama in Ahoda West local government area, Kingsley Amadri, NTA News.
The Department of Petroleum has sealed up part of some filling stations in Rivers State for selling above the official pump price of 87 naira per litre. The measure, according to the department, was to prevent hoarding and shortage of supply in the state. Tamara Ebiwe has a report.
Investigation shows that most filling stations were not dispensing fuel, thereby causing artificial scarcity in the area. The only 2 filling stations that were dispensing the product were selling at the normal pump price of 87 naira per litre, but buyers have a different opinion on the sudden price reduction by the filling stations.
I bought fuel from this same filling station at the rate of 120. It was because of the coming of the DPR that caused them to sell it at 87 now.
Zonal Operations Controller, Department of Petroleum Resources, Port Harcourt, Mrs. Sibudu Oyebuchi, said shortage in supply from NNPC depot in Port Harcourt was a major cause, but the situation is being compounded by marketers by hoarding the product and selling above pump price, which attracts sanctions.
We're trying to make sure that people don't sell above 87 naira at the pump and that they don't under-deliver.
Rivers State needs a total of 1.4 million litres of petrol per day, but only half of this is available for marketers. In Port Harcourt, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
Well, that's all from Port Harcourt Network Center. Lydia?
Thank you, Furo. Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri, has urged Nigerians to heed to President Muhammadu Buhari's advice on the acquisition of the National Identity Card, which will be a credible identification to complement the permanent voters card in future elections. This was when he monitored the enrollment of some Nigerians at the agency headquarters in Abuja. Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
The DG also stressed that it will avail organizations and agencies the opportunity to have sufficient information on each and every one of their staff.
Not restricted, it's for everybody. It is our right, it is an opportunity, and our participating is a responsibility.
Staff of the National Identity Management Commission, Helen Ariola, said Nigerians from age 18 and above are eligible to acquire the National Identity Card.
This card is a multi-purpose card. They are going to harmonize other data under it. So we encourage all Nigerians to come and enroll.
Already they told us in 7 days interval they'll be able to attend to everybody.
This is going on smooth. When we registered, there was no difficulties.
National Identity Management Commission, NIMEC, operates the National Identity Database, including harmonization and integration of existing ones. Ifeanyi Ezumba, NTA News.
Taraba State Governor inaugurates 400 kilowatts hydropower station as electricity consumers in the state cry out over high tariff. Let's join Charles Abba at our Makudi Network Center. Hello, Charles. It's over to you.
Yeah, and welcome to Makudi. The Governor of Taraba State, Darius D.C. Ishaku, has inaugurated a 400 in Kakara, Gembu, Sadana local government area. The station, which is to supply electricity to a tea factory and its environs, is a collaborative intervention by the United Nations High Commission on Refugees and the Taraba State government to boost economic activities in the area. Correspondent Joseph Osen has details.
The 400 kilowatt small hydro power station is a project executed by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees in partnership with Taraba State government to supply sustainable electricity to Highland Tea Factory in Gebo and its environs. The idea is also to support the surrounding villages, including 10,000 Nigerians from the area repatriated from Cameroon by the UNHCR, engaged in small and medium-scale production for their well-being. Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku, while commissioning the power plant, said the administration will continue to partner with international agencies to establish more hydropower stations across the state.
This is less than half megawatt. We want to double it so that we can be able to supply the communities that are living around here to have 24 hours power.
Representative of UNHCR, Kasia Shilombo, said the agency contracted the supply and installation of turbines as well as training of staff to the United Nations Industrial Development Organization in 2004, while the state government constructed the powerhouse, pipes linking Tunga Dam, and electricity work connecting Highland Tea Factory. From Gembo, Sadona Local Government, Joseph Oten, NTA News.
Meanwhile, electricity supply has been relatively stable in Makudi, the Benue State capital, in recent times. However, some members of the public have complained about the high increase in bills, which they described as arbitrary and not commensurate to the consumption rate. Ochengbede has a situation report.
Makudi, the Benue State capital, has witnessed steady supply of electricity in many areas of the town in recent times. This situation many residents have described as a welcome development, owing to the fact that the state has had poor supply that cripple economic activities before now. Mr. John Agbe, a welder, and Aloy Chukura, like many others, said the bills issued by the Jos Electricity Distribution Company is not commensurate with the power consumed, as the amount is always exorbitant.
The bill where they give us here is too big, because sometimes you no get work.
They don't even read the meter. I think they just give that in offer.
Business manager, Just Electricity Distribution Company, Olubi Ejaide, said it is as a result of consumer tampering with or bypassing of their meter connection that has led to the bulk billing system. On the issue of prepaid meters supplied to residents, the business manager said the meters are available for distribution, which will commence by the end of this month. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission could not be reached for comments on the issue of tariff and billing system, as the North Central Zonal Coordinator was said to be away on an official assignment. In Makudi, Oche Ngbedi, NTA News.
That report runs off our contribution from Makudi. Lydia, is back to you.
Thank you, Charles. Global Tidbits is next. South Sudan leaders cautioned on breaching peace deal, and South Africa's Prison Review Board on Oscar Pistorius' prison release to meet on September 18th. Plus, 20 bodies of Middle East and African migrants found at Austria border as they try to enter Europe. These and more on Global Tidbits with Chidima Ndubisi.
With the reservation before signing the recent peace deal, the United States is urging South Sudan leaders to remain committed to the peace deal, which will end the brutal civil war in the country. In Iraq, a suicide car bomb attack has killed 2 army generals and 3 others. The bomb exploded when the army intercepted a vehicle loaded with explosives, which was suspected of targeting the troops. About 10 people sustained injury, while Islamic State militants have claimed responsibility for the attack. Government forces have been carrying out offensives to reclaim towns under Islamic State control. And a team of specialized mountaineers termed ice doctors have started repairs on Mount Everest climbing route 4 months after an earthquake destroyed it. The earthquake in April claimed the lives of more than 80 mountaineers. That's Global Tidbits. Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA.
And now sports. National Sports Commission unveils Team Nigeria's kit for all Africa Games as Usain Bolt completes sprint double in Beijing. Details on Sports Update with Kene Emagbodike.
In a bid to ensure global best practices in the registration and monitoring of football clubs on the continent, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) Thursday commenced its football licensing seminar in Abuja, Nigeria. NFF President Amaju Pinnick, who declared the seminar open, said his federation is committed to encouraging value addition in the nation's football sector. The National Sports Commission Thursday in Abuja unveiled the official kit for the Nigerian contingent to the All-African Games in Congo-Brazzaville. The track suits and jerseys, which came in 2 sets of green, white and green, as well as white and green colors, were displayed by the Director, Federation of Elite Athletes Department, Hawa Akiyemi. Director General of the Commission, Al-Hassan Yakmut, tasked the contingent made up of over 553 athletes and officials to give their best to make the country proud at the Games. Grace Gabriel, who spoke on behalf of the athletes, said they are determined to return Nigeria to the top of the continent in sport. Team Nigeria, which will participate in 20 sporting events at the Games, is expected to travel on the 1st of September. World's fastest man Usain Bolt delivered when it mattered most as he confirmed his supremacy over former world champion USA's Justin Gatlin in the 200 meters final of the ongoing World Athletics Championships. The Jamaican ensured his sprint double with this year's world leading time of 19.55 seconds.
Close the gap. Justin Gatlin is trying to close, but Bolt's already smiling. Dare we ever doubt? 19.56. Usain Bolt.
Bolt will be hoping to ensure a clean sweep of the sprint event when he ankles the Jamaican 4x100 meters relay quartet this weekend. With Sports Update, Kenai Mabodike, NTA News.
And